New York's 12th Congressional District, once solely represented by 15-term Democrat Carolyn Maloney, now, thanks to redistricting, will pit her against longtime Democrat colleague and House Judiciary Chair Jerry Nadler. Nadler will run to represent New York's newly created 12th District, since his current district, New York's 10th, is also changing and will no longer include his home on Manhattan's Upper West Side. For decades now, Central Park has been the great dividing line for Manhattan's political representatives, separating the island's Upper East Side from the Upper West. What's the biggest difference culturally or politically between the Upper East Side and the Upper West?
I don't know, maybe old money and new money.
What is it about the Upper West that you prefer over the Upper East?
I don't know. I think there's more activity, dogs.
I think the Upper West Side is slightly more casual, and the Upper East Side is not.
I'm not an expert on the East Side, but I think of that as more corporate.
The people in the Upper East seem to just be snotty.
What's it like to live up here in the nexus of liberalism?
Here in Moscow on the Hudson.
Now, Nadler and Maloney are engaged in a fierce battle to win over voters in the newly designed 12th District. Maloney unwilling to cede the district to Nadler, saying this week that too many accomplished women, quote, have been told to stand aside for the sake of men's egos. With neither candidate looking to back down ahead of New York's August 23rd primary, some say Nadler and Maloney have only New York Democrats to blame for the party infighting. Earlier this year, the Democrat-controlled New York State legislature redrew district lines that would have given Democrats a strong majority in 22 of 26 congressional races. But in April, those maps were struck down by New York's highest court when it ruled that they were heavily partisan and needed to be redrawn by a court-appointed special master. The newly redrawn maps, approved this week by a New York judge, are now expected to help the GOP by creating 5 districts that lean Republican and at least 4 others where Republicans would be competitive. I believe these newly proposed lines by the special master violate New York State constitutional requirements of keeping communities of interest together, Nadler said in a statement. But if Democrats had their way, the maps approved by New York's legislature earlier this year would have drastically hurt Republicans like Nicole Malliotakis, whose heavily red 11th district would have seen more conservative areas of Brooklyn replaced by much more liberal ones.
2014, the voters went by public referendum, changed the Constitution and said they no longer wanted the state legislature in charge of the process. They wanted an independent commission to draw the lines. At one point this year, it looked as though Democrat gerrymandering in New York might have been able to help the party's efforts nationally to fend off a red wave in November. Now, instead of taking aim at Republicans, Nadler and Maloney will have to tear down each other instead.
This is good. Let the Democrats fight with each other.
In New York, for Newsmax, I'm Mike Carter.